Indiana.
Thank you for being here. I can tell this is my second trip to the border in the last few weeks, and I can tell perverse incentive and lack of leadership from this administration create a real serious crisis at the border, and it's really escalated it. And there is a lot of discussion, is it crisis or not? So let's just talk about some numbers. 40% of our Border Patrol agents are busy processing people and changing diapers. It means that they cannot do their job protecting the borders. What does it mean? It means that Mexican cartels are controlling the border. It means that we have 1,000 people just at this location per day crossing the border, that they see them on the video, but they cannot act to that. It means that they're so overwhelmed that they had to release 12,000 families, 12,000 people in the country without going through processes that has to happen. Is that not a crisis? We saw terrorists trying to cross the border recently. This is a national security and humanitarian crisis. Let's look at some other numbers. We have cartels making almost $500 million in a month on human trafficking and making these people into slaves. We have a situation where 6 times increase in drug smuggling across the border. That is not a crisis. We have a situation where parents send 6 and 8-year-olds kids to cross the border. These kids are crying because we created perverse incentives. If I would be sending my 2 teenage daughters through the border and also let them to sit in pods, they have, instead of 33 people, they have over 500 people, I would be in jail as an American mother. So that is not a crisis. And this is crisis, not a Texas crisis. This crisis is coming to Indiana and all other states because we don't have a border from Texas. And right now we don't have a southern border, and it's a huge problem. We also, it's a financial expenditure for us. You know, we cannot take care of our homeless veterans, but spending over $800 per day housing some of these families in hotels. And when this administration says that, you know, this is not a change of policy, they either naive or incompetent, because there has been change in policy. So I just tell you, what about the solutions? There are the long-term solutions that we have to have good legal immigration system and legal infrastructure. But there are also some short-term solutions that need to happen. This administration has to deal with asylum seekers and set up operations here to deal with them quickly. And this administration have to fix, some of the borders walls that started to be built because it created hazards. It's a flood hazard and also safety hazards. And this administration needs to think what kind of policy we're going to have to let our border patrol to do their job protecting the border. And they need to set HHS to help them and have a proper tools and finances for them, because after Section 42 goes away, we're really in trouble. So hopefully you can have this conversation, and we're going to talk to our Democrat and Republican colleagues and to this administration, because it is not acceptable. Thank you.
The gentleman from the great state of Utah, Congressman Owens.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank in a big way our unsung heroes, the men and women on the borders, that Americans will find out who truly has been saving our country and our culture here. I have 15 grandchildren from 13 to 6 months. As I talk about this, I want you guys to think deep about your kids, your grandkids. It's interesting, we have these young people walking hundreds and thousands of miles to get to a place their parents think is safe. We went through the process yesterday, and I saw this 7-year-old girl, artistic, couldn't tell them who the parents were. And I sat there as we were talking with these great men and women, and I was glanced over every few minutes, and she had tears in her eyes, just wouldn't stop crying. She's been there for 17 days, by the way. She still can't stop crying. We saw video of a 9-year-old young boy that was left abandoned in the desert. Heard about a young lady who now cannot talk because of the trauma of being gang raped. These are our children, my friends. Whether they're American or Mexican or Guatemalan, it doesn't matter. These are our children. And we have an administration that does not have the backbone to come down here and give encouragement to these great men and women that are doing the job that are being overwhelmed right now. They don't have the backbone to come see the misery that their policy is giving to these boys and girls, babies, men and women who take that trip. Many will never make it. There are people you and I will never ever meet. Their parents will never ever see again because they're gonna die alone somewhere on this travel, in this trek, as we talk about everything else but the issues here. I don't care if we're Democrats or Republicans. We're people who love our nation, we're people who love our culture, and this has been on purpose to a mass invasion of cultures that's not ours, that we don't give these young boys and girls a chance to assimilate. They can grow up and vote against every single thing we believe in. It's on purpose. So I'm going to say to President Biden and Vice President Harris, get some backbone. Get some compassion. Come down to the border and see what mess you made down here that we're trying to fight to save our nation. And by the way, I don't want to ever hear the word reparation again from these Democrats. Reparation is for slavery 200 years ago. We're seeing slavery today. Human trafficking, my friends. Sex trafficking, my friends, today. And they turn their eyes away, close their eyes as if there's nothing happening. Let's get on as a country. Let's make sure this message goes out strong. And I don't care what side of the aisle we're on. We love our kids, we love our nation, we love our culture, and we're not gonna let the hard left destroy it by bringing misery to our nation. Thank you.
Well done. Congressman Biggs from Arizona.
Thank you, Congressman Jordan. I'm so pleased to be with my colleagues today, be down on the border with them visiting this part of the border. I'm pleased with the roundtable we just had and appreciate the ranchers, the law enforcement, the policy advisors, the Border Patrol agents, representatives that were participating in that roundtable, give us some advice. Let me tell you, I've been down to the border many, many times. I've been down to this border when it's been under control, operational control, I would say, and then coming back here over the last day or so and seeing something that's horrific to see. It's not humane. The policies of this administration are inhumane. This president must own the catastrophe he has created, this human suffering and misery that he has created. 2 weeks ago, he appointed Kamala Harris to be his point person on this issue. She's crisscrossed the country, taken holidays. She can't be bothered to come visit the border to see what her administration's policies have wrought. Let me tell you a story. 2 quick stories, then I'll tell you how you get out of this. Number one, small community in my state, Gila Bend, which is the number 2 overruns, number 2 right now for immigrants through that Tucson sector. Small community, no social services whatsoever. They get a phone call. They're going to bring 16 people into that community. That doesn't sound like a lot to you, but here's a community that has no hospital, no social service safety net whatsoever. They can't even rent vans to transport them into Phoenix so they can get help. They have to use personal vehicles and get volunteers to drive these 16 people which were all 6, there were 6 family units, 5 from Venezuela, 1 from Chile. There's no guarantee that's not going to happen again. And if you think, if you live in an interior community, it won't happen to you, it will happen. People don't stay on the border. They're being released by the thousands every day into the United States interior. About a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I was down in the Arizona border in a place called 3 Points near San Miguel. We saw there were 16 people on the other side of the border. The Border Patrol was trying to keep them in there because these are runners. These are drug runners. We didn't see anything else that day, but that night a group of 112 was apprehended, surrendered. In that group, the oldest person was 94 years old. 94. The youngest, 4 years old. No parents, no guardians, no siblings, no aunt and uncle, no cousins, no grandparents. Somebody put that 4-year-old into the hands of the ruthless sex, drug, and human traffickers that we call the cartels. The cartels are controlling our borders. No person crosses this river without the cartels knowing about it and approving of it. And the same is said on the nearly 2,300 miles of this border. There are some things that need to happen to bring this under control and get our nation back, quite frankly. The first one is this president has got to stand up and say, no, you cannot come into our country. We will send you back. You must come legally. It is his voice that said during the campaign he wanted to see a, quote, surge on the border, close quote. You must take that stand. Then the second thing he must do, he must reinstitute the MPP program. He needs to get back to Mexico. That's why the president of Mexico says, this is Biden's mess. It is Biden's mess. He needs to re-engage with the Northern Triangle states of Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. And he needs to make sure that they're engaged just like they were in the PACE program. He needs to rescind the $1,400 per illegal alien incentive from the COVID package. And quite frankly, what he could do that would be incredibly effective is to instruct the asylum or the immigration judges to not worry about the asylum backlog. There are hundreds of thousands of those people already in the country that are waiting for a court hearing. Guess what? They're not coming back to court. But we have people on the border today who are coming across because of the promise of asylum that this administration has given. You can establish those courts. They can grant due process and remove people who have fraudulent claims, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of 90% of people who make an asylum claim. You do those things, and you can do them quickly, this problem, this crisis, this catastrophe begins to go away in short order, very quickly. Because people respond to incentives. Cartel is maybe a crime organization, but it is a business organization. And they respond to those incentives, and you take them away, and people will stay home, and we can restore order on the border. Thank you.